Why men get so few matches on dating apps? I'm gonna go out there and guess that the majority of people on dating apps are men, and so there's less women to talk to and to get to know. And also, women tend to use dating apps for validation, and women tend to go after specific types of guys on these apps, and it rewards disingenuousness. So a lot of the men that are on there are are great guys, and they just can't get anybody to respond to them because they're not willing to lie about who they are, because they think dating apps is about finding your perfect person, and it's mainly for hookup culture, in my opinion. Like, it really is.
Two friends install a dating app and try their luck. The man tries to set up the perfect profile. A nice front picture,
Gotta lie.
a
Remember to
group
lie,
picture
guys.
to make it
You have
seem
to.
like he
You
has
have to.
friends, a picture in Paris to make it seem like he's cultured,
Yep.
and a picture climbing
like he's
mountains to
doing
make it seem
things.
like he's adventurous.
Exactly.
After some hard work, the profile is ready.
And it goes
The
nowhere.
woman doesn't feel safe sharing a lot of personal information, so she chooses the first picture she
Well,
can find,
Sophia,
and
thanks for
she's
the
ready to go.
follow.
They
Love
start
that.
swiping and hope for the best.
Women don't swipe on
At the end of the day,
on
when the
most
woman
men.
checks her phone, her like counter is full. Practically
Yep.
every profile she likes is an instant match. Soon she's overwhelmed by the amount of matches and messages on her
Because guys
inbox.
just go in there, swipe right.
For the
It's the
man,
numbers
it's a
game.
different
Shotgun
story.
method, baby.
So far, he has only received
If you
a couple
can,
of
if you're a guy, go ahead and create a decent profile where you are lying about who you are, and then have some Photoshop things in there, and then just swipe right. It's a numbers game. Shotgun approach, baby. Have a couple of templates of things that you can send off as the first message as soon as you match, and then just try to get that phone number as quick as you can so she can't get rid of you. That's basically been the process that most men go through when they're going through dating apps. Like, if you have a better strategy, let me know. But being genuine on dating apps is not how you get more likes on dating apps. It's just not.
likes and has 0 matches. He becomes frustrated with the app and starts questioning his self-image.
Bruh.
He puts so much effort into setting up a nice
So
profile
sad.
after all. Why can't he get any matches? To answer that question, we need to understand the numbers behind dating apps. I made a simulation of a dating app with 1,000 dummies to try to understand why men get so few matches. Dating
First of
apps
all,
can
that's
paint a distorted
not the
picture
right
of what the
ratio.
real dating world is like.
I think it's 25,
Some
75.
studies indicate that dating apps can have a negative
Okay,
impact
thanks for
on
the follow, brother.
self-esteem, with a stronger effect on men. And women often have to find strategies to deal with intrusive behavior from men in these apps. It's hard to understand exactly what's going on inside these apps because there's very little data available. However, we can make educated guesses based on the little information we have.
Basically, I think what they're going to say is that there is like an uneven amount to begin with, and then you may fill all the check boxes of other people's check boxes, and then they might not fill yours. So you don't want to be with them, even though you guys like the same things and similar. It's not what they're looking for. So if you have 100 people looking at 50 women, 100 guys looking at 50 women, that means that maybe one of those people, if you're lucky, will actually be compatible with you and not swipe on you. Like, it's a numbers game, guys. You have to play the numbers. It's how this works.
I'll start with an ideal, unrealistic scenario, and we'll see how quickly things change when I start adding real-life variables. A side note, we're talking about dating with opposite genders. Same gender dating in dating apps has very different dynamics and is out of scope for this video.
I think that would be interesting to know.
Since we're trying to make an ideal
so
scenario,
different about
let's
dating
assume we
that?
have the same amount of men and women using the app. Let's also assume that everyone sees 100 profiles per day and that every profile is treated equally by the algorithm. I'm going to assume that users like 1 out of 4
bold statement.
profiles they see. This means every user has a probability of 25% of being liked
There's
every
already a
time their
lot of
profile is
assumptions
shown.
here. I'm not sure if I'm liking this.
Some of these parameters aren't realistic, but that's okay. We're gonna start like this and make it more realistic as we go. So, how many likes and matches will everyone get at the end of the day? Let's run the simulation.
0 to 1,
Okay, not too bad.
depending on how
On
long.
average, both women and men get 25 likes and 6 matches per day.
I don't
So,
think that's true.
why does this look different from real dating apps?
No,
Let's start
no
with reason
way.
number 1.
No way it's even.
There are more male than female users.
Yep.
I was
Exactly.
able to
That's what I was
find
saying,
user
dog.
gender data for Tinder and Bumble, 2 of the most popular dating apps in the world. In both
even
apps,
find the
there were
data. They hide it
significantly
for a
more men
reason.
using the app than women. In our simulation, I'm going to keep it simple and assume we
women
have
use it
2
for
men for every
validation.
woman,
They're not
a
even
ratio
looking for
somewhere
somebody.
between Tinders and Bumbles. I ran the simulation again and the differences were big.
Yep.
I'm gonna give you a chance to pause the video in case you want to try to guess how many likes and matches users get.
Let's see what they said. Previous results 25 to 25. This made up circumstance. So no, that wasn't true at all. Let's see what the real number is.
We now
Number of likes average 50 to 12. I told you it's a numbers game, you guys, because there's not that many women on there. So all this 75 men for every 25, I mean, they're throwing likes at them. They don't even care. Number of matches 6.2 versus 3.1.
now start to see the
That makes
first signs of a
sense.
gender imbalance in the results. Because there are 2 men for every woman, the number of likes received by the women doubled and the number of likes received by the men halved. And when we
Exactly.
look at the number of matches,
It
something
only gets
interesting
worse from there.
happens. Women received an average of 50 likes. Since they like 1 out of 4
Validated.
profiles, you would expect them to get an average of 12 or 13 matches. However, they only get 6. That's because now there are so many male users that women don't even get a chance to see half of the users that like them. They only
Oh,
see
okay,
100
that makes
profiles per
sense.
day, and there are just too many men in the queue. At this point, it makes sense that women start to
It
feel a bit
overinflates their
overwhelmed by the
value
amount
as
of
well. Imagine having that much validation, and then this is why people think that they're the table. This is why people have all these delusional thoughts about what dating should be like and that they shouldn't provide anything, is because there's always another guy in their line of messages. There's always some guy that they can take advantage of next. And they don't want you if you're not a simp, because if you're not simping, then they're not winning. So that's exactly how that works. Sad.
likes they receive. Because they often encounter intrusive behavior from men, that also makes them think carefully about who they give likes to.
True.
Men, on the other hand,
Those
are
are
starting to
weird.
get a bit desperate.
So eggplant
Because they
pics
don't
in the
get a lot of
DMs.
likes, they know they can't be
Not a
too
good look.
picky and start giving likes more generously to improve their chances of getting matches. Which leads
Exactly,
us to reason
shotgun
number
approach.
2.
Boom.
Men give more likes than women. According to
They're
this
smart.
New York Times article from 2014, men are nearly 3 times as likely to like a profile than women on Tinder. So let's use those numbers. I'm updating the simulations that women and men give likes in 14 and 46% of cases
Go.
respectively. So how do you think this is going to change the results?
15-1 to 12-5 and 6-2-6. Okay.
Now the gender imbalance
Before-
increases even further. Women get an average of
92
92
to
likes,
7.
whereas men only get 7. And because men like 46% of the users they see, these 7 likes result
All
on an average
speculation
of
anyways. I don't
3.2
think it's all
matches.
true.
Women get twice as many, an average of 6.4 matches per day. But things can get even more complicated for the average male user. Attractiveness is subjective, but the reality is that some profiles will be considered attractive by more users than others. Which brings us to reason number 3. A small share of the users get a big share of the likes.
True. Yeah.
In a Q&A post from 2017 on Hinge's official website, one of the engineers behind the dating app shared some data about this imbalance. He mentioned that certain
Probably got
people
fired
get
for it.
exponentially more attention than others. He reported that about half the likes from men were given to about 25% of women, and half the likes
Okay.
from women were given to only 15% of men.
Yeah.
This means that, especially with
Yeah.
men, there's
That's because women think that they deserve the best of the best, and they don't have any room for improvement in a lot of cases when they're perpetually single. And perpetually single people, permanently single women, are on these dating apps more than women who are taken, because they're women who are taken and stay taken don't go on these apps because they're not dumb. They're not going to jeopardize the relationship. So it seems to me that they want the top 15% of women, all the women, whether you're a 1 or a 10, you want that top 15%. You want that 8 to 10 range, because it's about clout, it's about money chasing, it's about free meals, it's about having somebody on your arm that knows somebody or does something that's cool to everyone, so you can look like you're doing well in life and that you're desirable. It's all about validation, you guys. Tell me I'm wrong.
a small segment of users that get a large slice of the total likes. Let's
Yeah.
try to include that in our simulation. I'm giving every user a score from 0 to 100% that determines how attractive they are perceived by other users.
Okay.
Until now, attractiveness has had no impact on the
Getting real
probability of getting
mathy.
likes. That means that every time a profile was shown, the probability of that profile being liked was 46 and 14% for women and men respectively,
Okay.
regardless of their perceived attractiveness.
Sure.
I'm now looking for a new distribution such that the top users get exponentially more likes, but while making sure the average like percentages stay the same. I went for the simplest formulas I could come up with, and you can find my assumptions on the screen in case you're interested. Basically, I assume that users with an
Just be hot.
attractiveness score of 0 have
Duh.
0% chance of getting likes, and
Easy.
users with an attractiveness score of 100 have 100% chance of receiving a like. This is admittedly an oversimplification, but since I couldn't find any real data, I'm trying to keep it as simple as I can. With these curves, 50% of the likes given by men go to the top 27% of women, and 50% of the likes given by women go to the top 10% of men, which is quite close to the numbers reported by Hinge, so this should be reasonably accurate. Let's run our final simulation.
Here we
You
go.
can try to guess the results now.
Thanks for the follow, 3frap. Appreciate it. 3frap. What does that mean?
This was a bit of a trick question. The numbers stay the same. The difference is, now the distribution is skewed by the top users who get most of the likes. That means that the averages no longer describe the experience of the average user. So let's add a new metric.
Like a mean. The
median.
user. The median.
In other words, how many likes and matches does the average user get? And now we can see the average male user only receives 1 like and 0 matches.
Whoa.
If you look at the average number of likes for different attractiveness scores, we see that the top 10% of male users get 37 likes.
But like, why would they want you to find love, man? That's their whole business model, is for single people. They're not making money off of these super likes and all this other nonsense off of people who are dating somebody. What's their incentive to find you your partner for life? What's their incentive? Think about it. Why would they want you to not be single anymore?
On average, whereas the average users get somewhere between 0 and 1 like. And if you look at the average number of matches, something interesting happens. The top 10% of men actually get more matches than the top 10% of women. They get fewer likes, but because they're less selective than women, they actually manage to get more matches.
Because they match.
I wonder if this also happens in real life.
They'll take a 7.
As I tried to make my...
Now they'll be a sleeper, not a keeper, which means they'll hook up with you. They'll buy you dinner. They're not going to make you their girlfriend unless you're at their caliber, because they can always get another girl. Because they're basically, it's like they open up their app and poof, a girl shows up at their door. And if they're low enough on the scale and don't have a very good self-worth, then getting laid is easy. You just have access to whatever you want at that point.
My simulation more realistic, the number of likes received by the average man went down from 25 to 12 to 7 to 1. Once again, this was just my attempt to simulate a dating app based on the little information that I could find. It may or may not describe your experience with dating apps. For example, I couldn't find data for the number of profiles users see every day, so I just assumed it was 100. And I didn't include factors like different cultures and demographics, and the impact of premium subscriptions that give advantages to paying users.
I don't think that...
Nonetheless, the simulation helped me understand what's probably happening inside these dating apps. So, what are the key takeaways here? This video is by no means making an argument against the use of dating apps. Meeting online has become the most popular way US couples connect.
The only way.
So, dating apps do work, and many relationships were made possible thanks to them. My personal takeaway of this video is that, due to the reasons that I mentioned, dating apps can give us a distorted perspective of the actual dating world. And I think we should be aware of the impact this can have on the experience and self-esteem of the users. Because in the end, I think this imbalance can be harmful for both men and women. Men will struggle to get matches, which only gives them an incentive to like as many profiles as they can to improve their chances of a match. And women, when they get a match with a man, they know that he's probably giving a like to every second profile he sees, so there's a good chance he's not even genuinely interested. That's my take, but let me know what you think in the comments.
No, I totally agree with that.
If you like stories with data and would like to support
all
my
of that
work,
makes so much sense,
consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel.
I absolutely
thank you to
agree.
our patrons.
It's insane. If you're on a dating app, I'm so sorry for you guys. I am so sorry. You have to deal with this, and honestly, don't take it personally if you don't find a lot of matches there. It doesn't mean that you're undesirable or anything like that. It's just the way that it's structured and set up. I mean, it's made so people who are going to not be faithful and not get in committed relationships get most of the matches, and the people who are going to get less matches. So everyone's spending more money except for the top people who are always going to be on the platform, right? So it's all that. Don't feel bad about it, guys, for real.